It was the wrong guy at the wrong time in the wrong place. It was Domingo German who threw a perfect game. He's the wrong guy. That's the guy who was suspended a couple of years ago for domestic violence, 81 games. He also suspended earlier this year for the sticky stuff. But he threw a perfect game. He threw it late last night. East Coast couldn't even take advantage of this if you're a Yankee fan. In the wrong place, it was against the Oakland A's in Oakland. Other than that, he's in the history books. 24 pitchers who have thrown a perfect game. Here's your over-under today. Over-under the number of pitchers who have thrown a perfect game who are in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to set the over-under at 5.5. Todd, you want to go over-under 5.5 of the 24 pitchers. How many are Hall of Famers?
I'm feeling that's going to be an under.
Under? All right. Seton O'Connor.
I'm going to say under, too.
All right. Marvin?
Under.
All right. Paulie?
I'm leaning under. It seems more like a good pitcher can get lucky one night.
Well, I think there's luck that goes into having a perfect game. There has to be skill, obviously, but there has to be luck as well. 8 of the 24 pitchers who have thrown a perfect game are in the Hall of Fame.
Ow! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! This is the stat of the day!
Melissa Etheridge doing the honors. Stat of the day brought to you by Panini America, the official trading cards of the Dan Patrick Show. By the way, if you're watching on Peacock, thank you. That's our streaming partner. Download the app. Also, say good morning to our radio affiliates around the country and those chatting on Chat Row. Operator Tyler standing by to take your phone calls on this Thursday, 877-3DP Show. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle @DP Show. All right. Here are the Hall of Famers who have thrown perfect games. Cy Young, Randy Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jim Bunning. He became a politician in Kentucky after he retired. Catfish Hunter. Roy Halladay. Sandy Koufax. John Ward. Addie Joss. Those are old guys. But those are your Hall of Fame pitchers who have thrown perfect games. Now, you have other pitchers in there who are really good. Kenny Rogers won 200 games. Mark Burley won 200 games. David Wells won 239 games. Dennis Martinez, 245 games. Felix Hernandez was a great pitcher. David Cohn won 194 games. Tom Browning in there. Don Larson, he had a losing record, 81-91, but he had the perfect game in the World Series. And Dallas Braden in there. I remember Philip Humber. Wasn't he with the White Sox when he threw a perfect game? That might have been in the afternoon. I remember having him on the show. He won 16 games in his career. So 1 out of every 16 games he pitched that he had a decision he threw, or that he won, he threw a perfect game. He only threw 1 perfect game, but 1 out of every 16. Yes, Paulie.
2 things stand out about this list. 3 of the people at perfect games we had on the show the next day. Randy Johnson, he insisted with the Diamondbacks that he come on with his catcher, Robbie Hammock. Mm-hmm. He would only come on because of that. We had Roy Halladay on after he had his, and we had Humber on after he had his. Yeah. That's pretty wild. If you look at this list you sent around, it looks like it's more skill than luck because the bottom 7 or 8 guys are decent pitchers. Yeah. But the first 2/3 are really good or really great pitchers.
Yeah, you have Charlie Robertson, Lee Richmond, Matt Cain, Mike Witt, Dallas Braden. These are average pitchers, some below average. There is luck. You know, it's skill to get to the major leagues. We know that. It's skill to throw a no-hitter. It's luck with a perfect game. Because now you're really rely on everybody else. If the pitcher could have great stuff, you ground it to third and all of a sudden he boots it or he short hops it. Then all of a sudden there's no perfect game there. But the skill to be able to put yourself in a position for a perfect game, you need a little bit of luck there. And probably had a couple of calls last night where went his way. I don't know what the umpire feels. Like, when does he feel like, I'm part of history here? Or do I allow a little bit more leeway here on a call? I don't know if it enters your psyche. I don't know consciously, subconsciously, if you're like, God, I don't want to be the reason why he loses a perfect game. Yes, Todd.
It would totally affect me. If it's late in the game and he's got a perfect game and it's really a borderline call, I would probably give him the strike.
Yeah, I can't do that. Can't.
You run a tight ship, Dan.
Yes, I do. You can't have an Eric Gregg strike zone where you're like, wait, that was 4 feet outside. Look good to me. Come on, let's go. Get back there in the batter's box. Addy Jost recorded a perfect game, and he needed just 74 pitches.
That's ridiculous.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, so 74 pitches for the perfect game. Yes, Marv.
You don't want to be Jim Joyce.
No, you don't. You don't want to have somebody go, oh, Jim Joyce. And then people go, oh, yeah, didn't he cost the Tiger pitcher a perfect game with that bad call?
That was one of the worst, 2 or 3 days I can remember. Just as, the humanity of it, watching Jim Joyce. And then, that next game, they had him come out and they did, a whole thing. And he was sobbing.
Okay, but isn't it interesting? We remember the umpire. Do we remember the pitcher?
Man, I could see his face. I could see that smile as soon as he said safe.
Yeah, Paulie.
June 2nd, 2010, Joyce made an incorrect call at first base umpire, which cost Armando Galarraga of the Detroit Tigers his perfect game.
But we remember, and then they brought them together, like this photo op. Like, hey, come on, guys, get together and, forgive the umpire here. He cost you a perfect game. And it's not one of those calls where you go, man, could have gone either way. It's like, oh, no. No, that's terrible. Yes, Todd.
Can you imagine, though, it's 1, 2 outs in the 9th inning and it's a full count and there's a pitch right around the corner and you actually call it ball 4 when it was just close enough? How do you not wink at that and punch the guy out and call it perfect game?
Because at what point do you say, all right, now I can change what my strike zone is? What's the context here? If it's a perfect game, do you do it? If it's a no-hitter, do you do it? If it's close, then
Batter should have swung.
Yeah, make the call. And I would even say that. If I was the umpire and let's say there was, final out, I'd say, hey, I'm calling it just like it's any other inning, any other day. I'm just letting you know. I'd let him know. There's no leniency here. But I'm not going to go out of my way to go, you know what? He's out. And you're like, wait, he was safe by 5 feet. Nope, he's out. Perfect game. Everybody celebrate.
And imagine if it's a home game like in Philly or Boston or Yankee Stadium, 2 outs in the 9th, perfect game, and you call that ball 4.
Let's play Guess the Attendance last night in Oakland.
Okay. I have a screen cap. I'm counting heads.
Oh, you're counting the people who are there.
We have it, so yes.
Okay, all right. Give me an over-under, Paulie.
I'm going to play closest to the hole. I'm going to really test you guys.
Wow.
Closest to the hole.
Okay.
Reported attendance.
This is the team with the worst attendance in baseball. Let's play Guess the number of people who were there last night for the perfect game. Todd?
Because the Yankees were in town, I'm going to go 8672.
It did sound like there was an actual crowd there last night. Here's the final call. Is this the Spanish version of the perfect game last night?
Germán de frente, lanza, swing, rolantazo duro, Daro se la tiene, Daro se la primera, perfección, Domingo German, San Pedro de Macorís, República Dominicana, el 0 en el uniforme y ese es el total que se le pasaron, 0, 0, perfección, perfecto, Domingo perfecto.
That's courtesy of WADO. Now, it sounds like there's a crowd there. Must have been a lot of Yankee fans in town. All right, so Todd has his number. Seton, over or... Oh, no, you have to pick the number. No over-under.
I'm going to go 10-5.
10-5.
Yeah.
10-5 touchdown. Marvin?
I'm going to say it was a packed house for Oakland. I'm going to say 15-6.
Wow.
Crazy.
I'm going to go 9-8-7-6. Oh, this is so good. I'm so nervous.
And air quotes reported attendance of 12,479.
Okay.
Right. Wowzers.
That's a big crowd there.
Yankees travel.
Yeah.
Free beer night or something.
Well, I wonder what the commissioner of baseball thought of that crowd. Too soon there? Too soon for that? Yeah. So once
That's out of context anyway.
So once again, I know. I don't know what context that you could have put that in where it didn't sound like a slight to the Oakland A's. Oh, yeah, that's a nice little average crowd for any baseball team.
That's how many parking attendants we have in the Bronx.
So wrong guy at the wrong time of the night and against the wrong team.
We can bring on any parade.
Yeah, I know. Congratulations on your perfect game, Domingo German. He just got suspended 10 games for the sticky stuff. His last start gave up 8 earned runs. I don't know. Maybe we could find out from our research department the worst performance leading up to a perfect game. We'll see if our research guy, John Tuvey, can help us with that.
That was a whole plan for Herman. He was lulling into a false sense of security with that 8-run outing last.